Okay, I'm going to work on these rock arms again. So we got the heads all mocked up here. Checking springs in here. Let's see what we got going on. So we got to put the rock arms up in here and see how they run across the tips of the valves. Then we can grind the tips of the rocker arms to work. So that's called rocker arm geometry. Got to figure out. So the rocker arms for the 58. These ones for the 65. Doesn't matter which ones go where. Well, they hit on the valve. But once you figure out where you're going to keep them, they have to go there. There's a couple nuts on each one. Lock up. Alright, so these arms are all repop arms because they got the radius tips on them. Okay, now you gotta go over here and look at from the side angle. You look how it rolls across the tip of the stem there. When I'm holding it up to the valve, it doesn't help. You gotta be able to go up and down like this. So what we're gonna have to do is make these sweep across the valve correctly. So right now that valve should be way up here to make this geometry correct, which is not even close. So that's why we have to regrind these to work. So you can see how the tip of this one here digs in real heavy on the side of the valve. So that's not supposed to be that way. This one over here. This one over here looks a lot better. So you look on this one here. Watch how it rolls across the valve. Now you're not going that far obviously, but we are going close to a ½ inch of lift, so we're going pretty far. But you can see how this one rolls across the valve pretty decently. It slides back and forth here, which is rubbing. That's not real good. So as it starts to rub real bad, that's where we max out at. So you can see how that works. So you see how it's sliding. It's rubbing really bad across the top of the valve, but at least it's on the valve. This one over here, it's off the edge of the valve. See, it's over here on the outside edge of it. So it's not even where it belongs. So all you can do is cut that edge of that valve off. That's why Harley blows the ends of them off, the tips. So each one of these has to be sharpened a little bit differently, or reground, I mean, to get what we need. So we have to do each one of these separate, back and forth, lots of times, which takes a while. But that's how you gotta do to make them work. Let's see how the other head works. So this one sweeps a little bit better than that last one did. Still isn't perfect, but at least it's on the valve head. And this one over here, same thing, at least it's on the valve head. Alright, So I got kind of an idea what I gotta do. So I can go grind each one. But these are gonna be back and forth, lots of trips back and forth to the grinder to get this figured out. I've already cleaned the heads out, so I don't want to get them all full of grit. The rocker arms have to be redone lots and lots of times. So we're going to start with this one here, which is bad. I need to grind more off the tip of this one, and not really much of anything on the inside edge. So you can kind of half-ass remember what you're going to do on one of them, not any more than that you get kind of confused. This one's pretty even, so I'm just going to lightly clean it up. This one here, I'm going to have to completely redo it. You don't have to have all these nuts on here like this for doing this, but it makes it a little bit easier to hold it. For the camera anyway. But it's kind of a final check to make sure the arms worked on the head. All you gotta do is pull off the one half of the arm. Take this out, go grind it, bring it back, put it back on there. And just put the lid back on and hold your hand and roll it back and forth. So that's what we're going to figure out. So this one's not too bad. This one sucked. So the right side one is one that needs most of the work. Okay, I'm going to get my tool. I'll go back to grinding. Alright, we're back. Okay, to save time, I brought out my tooling here. I bought some of my checking rocker arms. Okay, here's a set of my rocker arms. So you can see how they sweep right across the valve like they're supposed to. Pretty good. Not too bad. You can kind of see them in there, I'm not sure. So these are pretty close to what I need. So what I do is I have a jig over here I've made up where I can duplicate. So these are my rocker arms. So I got this plate I made up here that holds the rocker arms exactly, and they put tip to tip so you can see how to grind them. Duplicate what you need to do. Put my arm over here. Or an arm you want to duplicate, either or. These things all back together. Adjustable stands right here. Okay, so that puts the arms in here where they belong. So this holds them, and this is the stop right here. It's got a push rod pivot screw in here. I'm not sure if you can get there where you can see it. So that's what holds it. So that holds this in a set area, and these are adjusted for both sides to be equal. So now you take the customer's arms, you put them on the other side of this plate. So you hold the rocker down, put your finger on the valve side, tighten up the push rod sides down. Now you just take this arm and you grind it until it matches the other arm. Get as close as you can to matching it. So when you get that arm pretty close, then you know it should duplicate what it is. So you can see how these are slightly different from one to the other. Now this one here is lower already, so it has to come up a little bit to match up. So you can't make it taller, all you can do is rotate it and try to make the angle the same across. So these are relatively close, but we can at least duplicate it with this and see where we're at. Actually, I'm on backwards. My arm's lower than his arm, so we can grind it to match. So anyway, I'm going to go take this back. I can just grind these, put them back in the stand, get them close. Then I can go ahead and bring it back to the heads and try them out on the heads. It saves time. So got a lot of work making this jig up, so I use it. Now this is my grinding fixture here. So this holds the rocker arm here. This goes against the surface table here, and you can grind the tip up here. So it holds it. So these are all made out of Harley, old blocks and stuff. So I wonder why I'm all out of rocker arms around this place. I've used them all for making tools. I got stacks of arms already pre-ground, and stacks of blocks have been, stuff like this has been done to them. You know, there's a set of blocks sitting on this. There's all kinds of blocks everywhere. So anyway, this is what you make your tools out of, old parts. They work good. The problem is I had to use good parts to make my tools, so you go through a lot of parts. Okay, so I'm going to take this back, do some grinding in the back. Okay, over here where our arms are at. Get this where I can see what's going on here. Alright, so here's my rocker arms. So this one here is pretty close to what I want. Just needs to be lightly ground to match it. It's pretty close. So this is the one that was actually working halfway decent on the motor too. So all I got to do on this one is regrind this tip a little bit right here to smooth it up, get rid of these flat spots, but basically duplicate what's already here. So we get our grinding fixture here. Just held together with a couple bolts here. Pull that out. Bolts together like this. So you rotate all the way until you hit the stop right there. Tighten the bolts down just finger tight. And this will hold it now so you can actually grind it on the grinder. You can see how the grinder gets in here tight, so it'll work. Now this has to be ground on the grinder over there. It'll be on the far side over here. Light over here. So do a little slip in there to see what you got the right angle. Do a light cut. It didn't look like I did quite far enough over, so I'll recut that a little bit right on the side. Alright, so I ground the outside a little bit more. Alright, so more than likely I'll probably wind this tip a little bit more on this side, but let's see how close it is. It's a back and forth process here, so we're going to put it back down here in our jig. See what we get. The end result is we go put it back on the head. I lost my rag someplace. Okay, and you look at the surface here, and you see if it's pretty close to what you had on this. Sometimes it's hard to tell about what you got. You look at it from a side view, you can kind of see where you're at, see what it is. You can also take your 6-inch scale and just kind of lay it across the surface, and it'll show which side's higher and lower by the angle. It changes angle like this. You can tell where high and low is at. Get down here where I can see. So I want to check the tip height. So it's pretty even all the way around. It's good. Now this one over here, good look at it. Okay, we'll take this one out. We're going to grind it. This goes on the other side of the jig now. So you had to come up with some way of holding the rocker arm so I could grind it. So this is what I came up with. Okay, now I can go ahead and just grind this face, just like we did over here, except now we're on the other side of the grinding wheel. Yeah. The grinding grid out of the way. Alright, a little bit of a grind. Nice even radius all across. Back together so we don't lose the parts. And go back down our jig and take a look at it. See how it looks down here. The cutting wheel is pretty aggressive. Okay, I grind a little bit more on the tip than on the other side, which is what I kind of did on purpose. I purposely grind a little bit more on this side here, and it's showing. It's a little bit higher in the middle. It's about equal on the side now. Okay, so these are pretty close. So I'm going to take them back up front. I'm going to try them on the head, see how they look on the head. So we'll be back. Alright, we're back up front. So I'm going to check on our heads here to see what they look like. Okay, now these aren't all the way down. Alright, for whatever reason I want to go all the way down, so I got to put the nuts on it. It takes longer each time you got to do this, more work. One advantage of the nut though, it's when it's tight, you know it's in our spot, it's going to stay. No guessing. Okay. So now we look at how it goes across our tip up here. Looks like we can still probably take a little bit more off the top of it there. It's hard to exactly see where you're hitting on it, but it's a good starting point. This one here is not too bad either. Okay, now we go to the next stage of testing. take a red felt tip easily. Coat the top of the rocker arm. Go ahead and cycle it a few times. You can actually see where it's rubbing. The shiny spot right there is where it's hitting. It's the only place it's hitting. It's not hitting anything else except that one spot. So when you have that little contact, it's going to wear that one spot away pretty heavily. So what you need to do is you've got to come back and grind that one little spot away a little bit, and then that'll spread it out a little bit. You can also cheat on the angle of the table to get to go a little bit further across. So you can rough them out with that jig over there, get them close, and then this is how you do the final. You actually have to check each one individually and play with them a little bit. This one here looks like it's only hitting on the outside edge there, maybe. Yep, it's only wearing on the outside edge. So this one here we have to cock the table to match with the valve to rocker arm relationship, or even though the table's square, when you do this stuff it shows you you're not square to the tip. So to make it work you gotta cock the table to make that grind square. So you can see how this is an involved process. It takes a while. You can spend an hour doing these things real easy. So anyway, I'm going to go back and forth and do this, and we'll come back and show the results, because it's the same thing just over and over and over. So we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, I brought the heads in the back here in a clean area. So I'm grinding another time here. So I'm going to mark it. I get a better marking pen. It's a Mark Hill WP. This works pretty good. It's actually got some ink left on it. So it leaves a pretty wet surface. Yep. So I put that on the head. Let's go back and forth with it a few times. See what we got. Alright, so you see now you're getting a lot more area rubbed on it. Not sure if you're seeing exactly what I'm trying to show, but we're starting to get a pretty decent amount of sweep area on that now. And it's a pretty even contact patch. Looks like I overcompensate on my angle a little bit. I'm a little bit too much angle on it. You see where it's rubbing on the valve. It's not hitting across the whole face, it only hits on half of it. And not even a full half. So now you can see where it's starting to rub. So this time it rubbed a little more off the outside edge, but got a pretty good sweep area on there. So overall I'm fairly happy with that. That's about all you can ask for on these motors. Never can make everything perfect. Alright, so that one I'm good on. Now we'll go ahead and work on this other one a little bit. Put the new die on here so I can see better where it's at. Still hitting on the outside edge. So you can see with the valve, only hits on part of the valve, it's only on the one side. And you can see the rocker tip, it's only hitting on the one edge right here. That's all it's hitting on it. So we got to grind out quite a bit away at an angle. This is the intake valve. This is probably that one that was in there way cocked. I had that one that was pretty bad. This is probably the one. So if I don't grind the rocker arm correctly to match the valve, it's going to eat up the side of the rocker arm right here and cause a failure. So we got to purposely grind it off angle to make it fit correctly. So I'll go ahead and grind that. Be back. Okay, it's got done grinding that. So you can see how I changed the angle a ton. See, it's not even hitting on the bottom here. It's grinding up on the very top. It's cutting at an angle like this. So it's readjusting the tip of the rocker arm to match. So that was a pretty extreme amount of movement, but it was pretty far off. So now I'm going to recoat this thing. And let's see what happened. See how lucky we get. It'll be just right now, maybe. That didn't help me doing that. Do better just holding it down with my fingers. These checking valves like this can also be, you can mock the whole motor up and check your valve to piston clearance real easy by doing this. Whatever you got movement is your clearance. That's how I do my race bikes. I don't play or anything stupid, I do direct measurements. Oh, that looks nice. Now look at that, right in the middle, right on the money. Pretty good sweep on there too, I like that. Keep going a little bit more. Let it rub it off. So yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. Jeez. First shot, got it. Actually, second shot. First shot didn't work, I had to redo it. So once we see what the angle is, I'm pretty good at it, so I like that. Alright, so that arm's good. And as usual, we're already hitting on part of the valve tip, just a little bit of it. But now when it works, get up here you can see it. It sweeps across the valve face there. Stays on the tip of the valve, even though you're sweeping it all the way across. Not too bad. There's this one over here. Need some more leverage. So there you go. See, it sweeps across pretty good. That's full lift there. You go fast full lift. Still works. So anyway, that's how you get the geometry on these things to be where they're going to be livable. You just have to play with them. So like I use my major tool to get them roughed in quickly, and then once I get the angles kind of close, then I go ahead and do this. So these rocker arms weren't too bad on alignment, but I've had some aftermarket ones that are really, really bad. Okay, so we're done with this head here, so I'm going to move on to our other head over here. Okay, so this one here, I don't really know how bad we are. So this one here is our brand new rocker arm right here. So we're just going to go ahead and grind it and see what kind of a pattern we get. But first we're going to go ahead and die it up and get some kind of a rough idea what we need to do. because we don't really know until we check it. I'm having valve-to-valve interference issues here. You hear them hitting each other. One down, up, down. You gotta get the pattern worked out. Let's see if just do one at a time. Yeah, you flip it over and see what you got. So this one right here, it's hitting on the inside edge right there. You can see it. It's the only place it's hitting. This one over here, it's not too bad of a sweep over here. It's hitting on that. And this one is the brand new arm. That's one of the best new arms I've had. It's pretty close already. But obviously we're going to get a little bit better. So I'm going to go and grind it some more. So we'll go over there and show you how I'm doing a grinding again. Of course, right now my table's all out of whack. So I just got done fixing that screwed up one over there. You notice when I put the extension on here, I can take the nuts on and off quicker. Use it for support off the extension. That's why I like using extensions. It's kind of handy. Okay. I'm going to take the new arm first and go over there and see what happens over here. Let's see, I'm doing pretty good over here. Let's see, we're going to be grinding on the back side over here on this one. Okay, take our rocker arm, stick it in here, put the cap on there. Make sure you're all the way against the stop. Looks like it hit on the very outside edge there maybe. Alright, so I'm going to try to see what I can do to make this grind into it. So first thing I do is see where we're at squareness wise on the table. I beat it up quite a bit, so I got to change it. First thing I do is make a mark, see where I'm grinding. So it looks like I'm grinding a little bit heavy on the top. And you can also see the marks heavy on the top, so that's a plus. Now, do I think that's about how much I need? I'm thinking that's probably getting pretty close because we're hitting pretty heavy there, and that's definitely a heavier grind right there. So I'm good with that. So I was grinding up here on my block. All the times I ground, I still haven't ground enough off yet. Okay, this didn't look very even. So that should be enough to grind, but let me get one more sweep across the table. I'm not sure how straight it was. Damn it. Did the wrong thing. Now I've ground it a couple times, twice where I don't want to grind it. It should be really high in the middle right here, right now. But we'll go see. So need to go back over here and figure it out. Set this back up over here. Let's see how I do that. I forget how I had that set up. Do it like this maybe. Camera's at an angle, so we'll see. That ought to work. Alright, got to blow the dirt off the rocker arm with dust, so we'll transfer it over to here. Alright, so I'm going to regoop this up. Make sure I got the whole surface. Alright. Slightly bad angle over here. There we go. Appears to be worse than when we started. Okay, so see we're only hitting on this one edge right now. So I need to re-square the table up a little better. Potentially the mark looks like it's going to be pretty wide once I get it squared up. We're definitely a little bit heavy right here in this, wherever that little point is. So I'm going to go ahead and regrind this and I'll be back. Okay, I just reground it, got it gooped out. This is the second regrind of it. There we go. Pretty close last time. I was trying to get just a little bit better. It's easy when you screw it all up though. We'll see. The more you do these, the more you get practice and do it, the better you get at it. Ooh, that looks really nice. Look at that. It's the best one yet. That's almost a full sweep. Look at that thing. Amazing. That looks really, really good. Right in the middle, all the way across. That's nice. So you're either lucky or good, but either way you'll take it, right? Yeah, that looks really good. I'm happy with that one. That's a good one. That's what you call a keeper. And that was the new aftermarket arm. They're usually horrible. That thing was pretty close. Okay, so we're going to go to the Harley arm over here. Now this one here was only hitting right here on this high spot right in here. See where the mark is right there. Only at one little area. The angle looks good, but I don't know what it's ground at, so we'll have to try to duplicate that grind angle and then just cut that edge right there and just do a quick sweep across the whole rest of it. So we'll go try that out. We'll be back. Okay, just got done doing this one. This one's pretty flat overall, but you can see how I took the hump off a little bit. There's the light at, there it is. So try to take the hump out of there a little bit. We'll see how that works. So it looks pretty, a little more even, but it's getting not much of curve to it, but if that's what it wants, that's what we're going to give it, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and regoop it. Yeah, I definitely like this pen. It's really nice. I'll have to find some more of these someplace. Best ones I've had yet. I like them. It's nice when you find something that actually works. It's great for doing these jobs like this. a little bit watery, but overall we're 90% of what we need on that pin. Alright, let's see what we got on the first pass. That sucked. So we need to cut more off the bottom here. The sweep is getting halfway decent, but the angle's wrong. So, alright, I'll go make an adjustment on the angle and slightly different on how I'm grinding it, and we'll come back. Alright, we're back again. I think it's a lot flatter than I really want it to be, but it seems like that's what it's looking for. But I've redone the angle again on it. It was pretty close last time on the side-to-side angle, but see what we're going to get this time. It's getting pretty flat, so if I get too flat, it's going to start hitting on the inside edge here. I'll have to grind that back out, which I'm kind of hoping it is because it looks pretty damn flat. It's definitely right there. Let's see, that one's kind of, I think we moved up the top now as being off, but the rest of it looks pretty even, surprisingly. I don't see how I'm not cutting too much on the inside, but it appears to be I'm close. Alright, I still got to work on my angle a little bit. I keep going back and forth on which way I'm off. It's close, so I'll go try it again. Alright, just did a sweep test. Looks really good. I'm sweeping across almost the whole face. The only problem is it's all screwed up. So even though it looks good, it isn't. You look over here, you can see how we're starting way on the inside edge. And as you go down, it just starts scrubbing across the whole surface real bad right there. It digs in the whole tip. So I got to grind that tip away to stop it from doing this kind of thing. So even though it looks like it's sweeping really nice, it's just not working correctly. It's going to be a problem. So you can see how this one over here sweeps it a lot more even. Get over here and get to it. So you can see how it sweeps across pretty far before it comes across. So I'm going to regrind this a little bit. I still like it. I see something that looks totally weird angle-wise. That's where I start thinking there's something wrong. All right, so I'm going to grind this away on the top here about like this, right where my thumb is, wherever it is. I'm going to take this away right through here, grind that tip off. All right, we'll be back. Okay, I re-ground the radius back into it. First I ground the top off, then I got to grind the back. I go back, grind a little more on the back to get it where it was more even. It was way up here. This tip is way too short to be correct, but we're trying to make it as best we can with what we got to work with. Of course, keep grinding doesn't help it any because it's making it shorter every time you grind it. Got to get the angle right, so it is what it is. I haven't grinded a lot off of it, but anything I take off is too much. So, see how close we are this time. Still sweeps pretty bad across the face, but doesn't dig in like it was. Alright, what do we got? My angle's gone away. Damn. It's only hitting on the inside edge now. Why that's changed. But the contact is starting to look better. So I can go back and hit that again. Thought I had it. You can see how bad the geometry is of the rocker by how much it sweeps across the valve all of a sudden. So it goes pretty good right here, and about halfway all of a sudden it starts sweeping across the whole thing, see? Yeah, sliding off the edge of it. So it works pretty good right through here, and then right there it just goes whoop, starts going sliding. See how it's just sliding right back across? All that sliding action is what tears up your valve guides. Puts a lot of side load on them. And I can't correct that without welding a lot of material into the rocker because the geometry is just way off. Okay, but I'm going to have to do better than this because I'm grinding too much on this one side. So I'm going to give that just a little bit more of a kiss right there, and then that should get me pretty close. So we'll be back. Alright, just re-swept this one. We're getting a lot more across the face now. So that's cleaning up pretty good. So the last valve is the worst one, obviously, but you can see how it sweeps real bad across, but it's better than it was, I guess. So it goes across, and at the very tip there it goes off, but that's way more lift than we got. That'd be only like 600 thou lift, so the real world we're only going about to here. Right about there is about where we max out. That's 600 plus. That's probably 500 right there. We're about in this area. So we're still sweeping across right there real bad, which is right at the top of your valve lift, which is bad. Like I said, that's hard on your valve stems, valve guides, all that stuff eats up pretty good when it does that kind of crap. Of course, that's at maximum spring tension, and we got stiff springs, so that's the problem with that, but that can't be fixed without changing the heights. The pivot height of the valve stem needs to be longer. If the valve stem was longer, it would work better. If you look at the angle between here and here, it's almost straight up to here. It should be half your valve lift, but we're not. Only about 150 thou up. So anyway, you can see how it's wiping the ink off a large area. So we do have a lot of surface area, which is a plus, but it's not good for it. It's not the best condition, but it's the best we're going to get with this design. The panheads need a lot longer valves than stock, but probably close to 200 thou longer would be about right. But, oh well, they don't make them that way. Alright, we got this set done. So this is our 65 set. I'm going to swap this out and we'll go get the other set.